Hello, hello. Welcome to Virtual Book Club. It's the book club you can attend even if you didn't read the book. Virtual Book Club started in October of 2020 during the global pandemic. I'm Benita Lee, and I'm joined by different guests all over the world to discuss books, connect with others, or share thoughts, tell stories. Join us and don't forget to say hi and where you're tuning in from. I know that there's been an issue lately with not being able to make comments if you're on your mobile device watching. But if you're on your laptop, then you can make comments as usual. So I never know who's going to join me for book club. That's the thing. It's not a mandatory thing that um, is in everyone's schedule, but whoever can turn up turns up. And today I am joined by Hal Garin and Abel Beckford, and we are reading the book Becoming Coachable by Scott Osmond, Jacqueline Lane, and Marshall. Is it Goldsmith?
Yeah, Goldsmith.
Goldsmith, who is like one of the most renowned executive coaches in the world, I would say. Because didn't we read a book, The Heart of Business, Hubert Joly?
Lee, yep.
And he mentioned in his book that he was coached by Marshall Goldsmith during the time he did like a turnaround at Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
And the reverse is true also. I can't remember exactly where, but in this book, they mention Jolie as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think I'm only on the start of part 2. So far.
I'm a little bit more than halfway through, but lots of as always lots of great nuggets to pull out of this one.
Yeah. And Abel's finished it, I think.
Not quite. So what I did, I photo read it, but I haven't fully activated it yet. I meant to do it this morning and things kind of got in the way. So the activation is when you move things from your subconscious to your conscious.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because you did the photo reading.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no problem. Because as you know, there's no pressure to read. I think a lot of people want to join a book club, but they don't want all that pressure of like, oh, I gotta finish this book. And you don't have to bake cookies and set out treats for this book club, so everybody brings their own. I'm drinking lemon water with honey, and I think I've gone through 3 bags of honeys and 2 bottles of or no 2 bottles of honey and 3 bags of lemon so far, just in these 2 weeks. What I wanted to mention was Avril and I were talking at the beginning of this show, and I realized that this is the 3rd year. So it started October 5th, 2020, and we were in a pandemic. People, nobody was getting out. We were all on lockdown. And during the fall, I like to put away my golf clubs and then get to my winter sport, which is reading. And I was like, well, I love it when I can read about something and then discuss it. It's like watching a movie and discussing it with your friends or your family, right? And for me, it's like reading gives me like some gratification and I learn some things, but the real value for me comes in when I listen to other perspectives of what I was reading. So this book club came at a great time. It wasn't always on StreamYard. It wasn't always live like this. It was a group of people, and sometimes, 3 people would show up, or sometimes 5 people would show up. But every week, people showed up, and we read books. We read like really good titles. We started with Why and The Infinite Game, Leaders Eat Last. And then we ran out of Simon Sinek books. So we had to go to other ones, and most of them are management, leadership, self-development related, and such as this one, Becoming Coachable. Because really, who in their life hasn't ever thought to themselves, oh, speaking of the devil.
Hi, Vern.
Good morning.
Hey, Vern.
Vern Webb, executive coach. Who hasn't thought to themselves, like sometime in their career, or who hasn't gotten a coach appointed to them in the company they worked for, who's never said, I think I've gotten myself this far, but I think I need something new, like to get me somewhere else, to level up.
Well, there's usually 3. Vern, correct me if I'm wrong, or correct me if there are more than 3, but there are usually, I think, 3 reasons someone ends up with an executive coach in their corner. One is they decide on their own that they need one, and they go and pursue one. Second one is that they get told by a leader in the organization, or their organization supports them in getting an executive coach. And it truly is a growth and development thing. And then the third flavor, which is kind of like the kiss of death, is because you're 9 toes out the door, they assign you an executive coach to show that they're trying to throw you a lifeline. But the reality is, you should be probably packing up your office. So hopefully the executive coach can help you out of that situation, but that's the third one is not the ideal place to be. But I've seen that happen to folks.
Actually, you're right, gotta say, because different people have different opinions about why they're getting coached. And if you know that you're relatively solid with the company, then if they say they want to bring in a coach for you, then take it as a compliment. They're looking at it from a growth situation. We think you're good, we want to make you better. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
But most people, when they don't know any better, will make the mistake, coach, why I need a coach? I don't need a coach. Then they start, they take offense to it. And that's like the last thing you want to do. When they say you want a coach, anytime you can get people who are considered top tier CEOs. And of course, my favorite is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has a coach. And you think, what the hell does Warren Buffett need with a coach? I mean, what's he trying to do? Make things better so he can make ends meet with his company? I mean, that's, Warren says, I can be better than I'm good, but I feel like I can be better. And I need to get a perspective other than my own. You can't depend on the people who are working for you, because who's going to criticize the boss if they want to keep their job? Oh, no, boss, great job, good decisions, you're the man. I have talked to my clients, told them, I said, I'm going to tell you some things you don't want to hear. I'm going to have you doing some things you don't want to do.
Yep.
But that's how you're going to grow.
Are you all in? Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You got it nailed down about right. That's what it comes down
that's
to.
the point of the book, which is why it's such an interesting perspective. It's about a person who it's for someone who is going to pursue, however they end up getting one, an executive coach. And it's about, from their perspective, how you can position yourself to be coachable.
That, you know what, as a matter of fact, and I want to thank the virtual book club. You inspired me to get that book, Becoming Coachable. And I just recently went through the entire book because it was audio. And I learned a lot. And I'm like, wow. So it made me really, so not needless to say, I've got to go back and listen to it again. I'll take notes now. I just wanted to hear it, see what it had. I'm like, okay, I'm loving this. I'm gonna go back through with, paper and pen and start taking some notes, because what it allows me to do is it allows me to be a better coach, because that means I can help my clients to better facilitate the information that I'm giving them. But, how often, you're right, Benita, how many people get the opportunity to say that, we're going to get you a coach. And not everybody gets it. And oftentimes, people of color don't have that opportunity. Women oftentimes don't have that opportunity. So anytime the company says, we're going to get you a coach, you go, yes. Because even in your worst case scenario, where you're not doing well, they're thinking, do we want to keep this person? Let's get him a coach, see if he can turn it around. You're going to be the person who's going to benefit. No matter what happens, you're going to benefit. And anytime you can benefit from listening to somebody else, then you take that opportunity.
Agreed.
It's interesting coming from I'm someone who works for myself, and I've had coaching, and I've had different kinds of coaches. More recently, I had a coaching session, I think it was on Tuesday, and I get coached on specific things, to grow, for personal development, and it's important to me. So some aspects of the book really resonated with me, like how to be coachable, like what's the definition of being coached and all of that stuff, and the section about the myths of coaching.
The first idea about going out and getting your own coach, anyone who goes out and gets a coach on their own, I applaud. Because that's saying, I know I need some help to see some things I'm not seeing. Because oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. And you need to get a fresh perspective, if you will. So you start, if you go out and say, okay, let me find a coach to help me with this, that in itself says you're ready to be coached, because you're looking for it. Nobody's delivering it to them. They're looking for it. Now, the area is, how coachable are you? And one of the things that and I listen to as I listen to the book, and I think about how I approach my clients that I work with, I tell them, I said, there are 3 things that I need for you to have in order for us to work together. First of all, you've got to have a goal. Because if you don't have a goal, then, why are we talking? Second, you got to step up. And by step up, that means I need for you in my particular area, and it's very specialized, is to create 15 minutes twice a day to do the mental training exercises. And then the third area is to be coachable, to listen to what it is that I'm saying. You may not like what I'm saying, but trust me, I'm seeing or I'm hearing what you don't hear. And when I'm talking to my clients and they're telling me certain things, I'm listening for certain things. And if I don't hear certain things, I'm going to bring it up. If I hear something that I think that they need to be made aware of, I'm going to bring it up, because they're not aware of it. They're just going their merry way. It's like, no, you need to hear this. Let me stop you. I need you to step back. I need you to rethink this because you said blah 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 blah. And they go, yeah, okay, I said that. That line of thinking is not going to get you where you want to go.
Well, I like how Avril actually tells them like what she wants to be coached on. So that's like, I like that. And then I like Vern, what you said about, I like how you said to me at the very beginning, it's like, I'm gonna tell you what I think and see, and you're gonna listen to it, and you may not like it, and you're also gonna tell me what you see.
Yeah.
And that's important too, because even though I wanted specific coaching, and you said something, Vern, about the mental piece. And in fact, one of the coaches that I saw recently is a silver coach because I wanted to master the three finger technique. And you said you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes there are blind spots. So I went
Absolutely.
with her with what I wanted. I got what I wanted, but she saw other areas that I needed as well. So I was open to that. So even though I had a goal as to what I wanted, I had to be flexible in this person was far more experienced in this thing.
Mhm.
So it's an openness to being coached is so important.
When somebody wants to be coached, you know they're interested in growth.
Yeah, I think it's the difference, between, I mean, the best coachable person is going to be someone who seeks it out on their own volition. They already are good, but they know they're striving to be great. I mean, the sports analogies is perfect here. I don't think anybody could name one star athlete, great athlete, who wasn't coached.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
Absolutely.
there are scores of good athletes out there who, I'll use basketball as an example, could go down to the local court down the street and clean everybody's clock, but they'll never make it in the NBA because they already think they're a star. They already think they're a stud. They're not coachable.
That's a mistake. And you're absolutely right. Because none of the greats will tell you that they didn't need to be coached. If somebody came on the field, on the basketball court and said, well, look, I don't need to be coached, he wouldn't last as long as a snowball in hell.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just, you could pick names out of the air, but Tom Brady, or go to, basketball, LeBron James, or go to gymnastics, Simone Biles. Do any of them say, nope, I don't need a coach. I'm good. I'm good. Or say, you know what? I'm not listening to you, coach. I think you're wrong. I mean, that just does, I mean, so why is it's interesting that it's acceptable in sports. It's a given.
Gotta have it.
And it's not necessarily viewed positively like it should be in a business environment. A lot of times people who they get assigned a coach, they don't want to tell anybody because obviously I'm a remediation problem, and you can't be successful. I'm learning this from the book, or it's just reinforcing more deeply within me. You can't be coached successfully if you don't involve the people who surround you, because they need to be actively engaged in giving you feedback on what you're working on.
Right. They talk about stakeholders in the book.
So it's not only are you all in, but a coach, especially if you're talking about an executive coach, needs to, you'll tell me that, you'll tell me a lot more about this than I'll ever know, Vern, but I mean, if you don't tell if your boss doesn't know, your coworkers don't know, your subordinates don't know, your spouse doesn't know, and and any others you want to include in the list, and they are engaged in, here's what I'm working on, and you're soliciting feedback from them on how I'm doing. Your coach is going to direct you to, to do that, or they're going to they're not going to be your coach for very long because you're not going to be coachable.
That whole idea about being coachable, I'm telling you, the book just opened my eyes to some things that I'm like, it's right. And I know I listened to some of the greats on the book, especially Marshall Goldsmith. I mean, he's like the master. And there are a couple of different ways. Sometimes you can get coached and no one else has to be involved in it. Or sometimes it is something that is all inclusive. The coach is going to want to meet with your colleagues and the people that you're, dealing with, upper management. And because we're all a part of your getting better, you're rising to the top. And nobody can do it alone. We may think we can, we may even want to, but I'm telling you, nobody gets where they are by themselves. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't happen. So the sooner you can get past that, I can do it, but that I can do it myself kind of thing, the better off you'll be.
So I would think
that ego in your back pocket.
Yeah, I would think, Vern, this book would be one where, someone who is an executive coach may want to, say, before we meet again, we've gotten to know each other, and this is, we're just getting started here. Before we meet again, here's a book I'd want you to read or listen to. I'm buying it for you. I'd like you to at least, you may not get through it by our next call, but I'd like you to just start reading it. That's the first thing I'd like you to do. And then just get a conversation going. What are you getting from this book?
That's an idea. I'm listening. And the fact that I'll get the book, I'll send it to you, but I want you to, and we'll make it, audible. I want you to listen to it before our next meeting. At least start it and tell me what you get from it, because that will make my job easier.
Because then you can basically say, oh, sorry, go ahead, Abel.
I saying an expectations, after that, yeah.
Because somebody could basically give you lip service to tell you, especially if they've been assigned a coach. They can give you lip service to say, yes, I'm all in, and yes, I'm going to do everything I need to. And you start to find out as you have your follow-up meetings and your ongoing meetings with them that they haven't done everything. They're dragging their feet. They're holding back, and this is sort of like, after you've read this, or at least read or listened to parts of it, you can have a serious conversation with them about, I'm here for you. But you got to be here for yourself. You got to be in this for yourself. Sure. This is not about me. This is about you. I'm just here to help you.
I think that it begs the question, if you're assigned a coach, to ask the question, no problem. Let me ask why I'm being assigned a coach. Mm-hmm. Let's just, cards face up on the table. Why am I being assigned a coach? And then let them say, well, there are some areas we think you need some definite improvement in. And we're talking remedial. If they say, you know what, you're good, we think you can be better, then that they're looking at growth for you. But going in it with the right attitude, knowing why you're being assigned a coach so that you can get your attitude squared away. This is not punishment and remediation. This is because we like you, we see potential in you, and we just want you to get better.
Yeah, I think some of it is cultural, because I've been in organizations where, someone assigned a coach would be viewed as a great thing. Boy, you're destined for success in this organization. And I've been in organizations where the culture is, oh, that's the kiss of death. That person's, don't bother talking to them. They're on the way out the door anyway.
How do you get such two different perspectives on coaching?
The psyche of the leadership team, the C-suite.
Bingo. I agree. It is. It is exactly what it is.
If the CEO, who sets the tone, if they've had, successful experiences that's made them a better person as a coach, then they're going to be more apt to be, supportive of it as a true leadership development tool, and those that go, I got here all by myself. I didn't need anyone. I stepped on everyone along the way and crushed them to the top. And now I'm just waiting. Now I'm just collecting my bonus. I'm just waiting for those stock warrants to issue, and all that kind of stuff, and they view it as an entitlement. They're going to use it as a, HR, we've already done the documentation. They're already on an improvement plan, and HR counsels them, say, but we ought to assign them an executive coach, wink, wink, before,
we actually push them out the door.
Right. Because then it's just it's a guilt-free severability for the leadership on someone who might have been, a star, but they're not working out. Because they say, well, we tried everything we could. We counseled them, we signed them a coach, and we now wash our hands guilt-free of the whole thing.
Actually, they could. We sit up there, we counsel them, we assign a coach, and and some people are very resistant to listen to somebody else tell them about what they need to look at. And that resistance needs to go out the window if you're going to benefit. But
what do you suppose some reasons are that you'd be resistant?
They think they know it all.
Ego.
I don't need anybody to coach me. And as soon as if somebody were to say that, I'm like, wait a minute. Do you realize that some of the best CEOs in the country, dare I say even the world, have coaches? And you're going to tell me you don't need one? Explain that to me, Lucy. I need to know. Explain it to me. No, I'm telling you, Warren Buffett, I'm like, man has more money than he'll ever know and see. And he's got a coach.
I wonder what Warren Buffett wants to be, feels.
What does he want to be when he grows up?
Yeah, feels his areas of
Warren, you're such a slacker.
When he grows up, he wants to be Charlie Munger, I guess, because he's the only one I know he hangs around with that's older than he is.
So, Vern, in the book, it gives the 6 qualities to be successfully coached. So what's your take? Do you agree with it? Would you have more? So it's self-awareness, humility, ability to listen, hunger for feedback, commitment to action, willingness to be held accountable.
I need feedback. Me personally, I like feedback because I only have one perspective. Even if I look in the mirror, I'm only going to have one perspective. And I tell the people who know me, who watch me interact with other people, and who are close to me, is just give me feedback. People who I know I can trust. Give me feedback. And there's a woman in my life now, and I've given her carte blanche. I said, look, I'm about perpetual personal growth and development. I said, but if you see some things that I need work on, tell me. Trust me. I'm not going to take it personally. I'm really, really not going to take it personally. I want to know how I can get better. So I will put my ego in my back pocket. When I'm talking to my clients, I put my ego in my back pocket and I listen to their feedback and know that that's how I'm going to learn. Humility. My mother told me everybody is not going to love you, Vernon. So I like, okay, if Jesus comes tomorrow, everybody wouldn't love him. I'm like, really? She said, yes. I said, oh, okay. Well, if everybody wouldn't love Jesus, I don't take personally that they don't love me. Okay, good. There's confidence and then there's arrogance.
And there's a fine line sometimes.
And it is. Well, you're right. It's a very fine line. And I always want to make sure that I keep myself in check, that I'm coming across with confidence and not arrogance. So when people are talking, the last thing I want to do is cut them off. And anybody who's had any conversations with me, and Benita, I know you have, I always listen until you finish talking. And sometimes when they finish talking, they're like, why didn't you interrupt me? I'm waiting for you to finish. I want to hear everything that's happening. And then when you finish, then I'll start talking. So that's important, that a person knows that they're being heard. And that is so very, very important for women, because there are people.
Right. One of the items on Avil's list was not listening. Was it? Was listening one of them? The skills?
Ability to listen, yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
That's, by the way, a very powerful skill, to actively listen to someone and let them know that they are in fact being heard. And I've done some reading on it to make sure that, I'm on top of active listening. What do you do to let somebody know that you're actually listening? Because like, okay, I got it. How do you let them know that you're listening? And one is eye contact.
Body
the other
language.
is in your body language. Okay, just letting them know. And then at the end of what they have to say, being able to ask good questions. And when someone can listen to what you're saying, and then when you're done, can ask you good questions, then you know that they were listening. So yeah, what I learned is that humility and that confidence versus arrogance, that is, again, Evel, to your point, a very fine line. And I want to be sure that I come across certainly with confidence, because I have to have it, because it's one of the things that I show my clients how to develop. So if I'm going to show you how to develop it, I better have it. But those are all things that are just absolutely crucial, and especially in leadership. When people are looking to you for direction, and if they don't feel like they're being heard, they're like, well, why would I go in there and talk to him or to her? They're not listening. They don't care. And then they start slowly but surely shutting down.
In the book, they talk about awareness and how reflection brings you awareness. So did anyone catch that?
That reflection.
If I said I wanted to become more self-aware, how would I go about tackling that one, would you think?
People who are more self-aware are not afraid to spend time by themselves. And you would be surprised at the number of people who struggle with that. They've always got to be busy. They've always got to be doing, and they don't take the time to sit down in a room with nobody else, no music, no TV, no nothing, and just sit there by themselves. For some people, that's a real struggle. And when you're not able to sit down and listen to your thoughts, then your chances of being self-aware are going to be minimal at best.
That reflection piece is so important because for me, like, let's say someone say something to me, perhaps they think I shouldn't have done something else. Like I go away and I spend that time with myself and I try to objectively look at the situation and I ask myself, is this legitimate? So if I think it's legitimate, okay, I'll take steps to do the necessary correction I need to. If I don't think it's legitimate, I toss it out. But there have been many times when, I thought it was a fair thing. No one likes to be criticized. So maybe at first you're back kind of up and stuff, but you're right, Vern. In those moments of self-awareness, when you're by yourself and you can actually think things through, not rushing, those are golden moments.
I think it's interesting, that, if someone were to say that I wanted to be more self-aware, then you had to be self-aware already, that you weren't self-aware enough. I mean, it's the people who don't think they need to be more self-aware that probably need to be a hell of a lot more self-aware. It's an interesting thing because you have to, unless somebody told you, geez, Hal, you need to be more self-aware. And I go tell my coach, hey, so-and-so told me I need to be more self-aware. What's that all about? But I mean, other than that, you have to have the self-awareness to realize that you need to be more self-aware. I mean, so you're probably already better than most at it already to have that self-recognition.
There are probably levels of self-awareness. And at the very almost bottom is like, I think I need to be, somebody's going to have to tell you need to be more self-aware, because that doesn't usually come to you as a flash of insight. I'm thinking I need to be more self-aware. It doesn't work with me. Somebody's going to have to tell you. They're going to have to tell you. It is. I'm going to ask a question. Hal, do you meditate?
No.
Might want to think about it. That aside, when you meditate, and Benita and Evelyn, you become more self-aware. When you close your eyes and there's nobody there but you have only your thoughts to contend with. And what I have found in my years of doing this and with the thousands of people that I've worked with is that first time you start getting thoughts that come up that are less than positive. And when you finish that first time, you need to jot those down, because if they're coming up, that means that they are close to the top. That means that they are near and dear to you to be aware. It may not be positive, but there's something for you to need to start taking a look at it, because those are the thoughts that you start telling yourself, and that's what's basing your self-worth and belief and self-image on. And if you hear stuff that's negative, it's like, oh, let me start, just getting ready to start taking a closer look at this while I'm learning to become more self-aware. But I suspect, Hal, even though you may not meditate, you will find some quiet time by yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
I've heard you too long to know that you don't do that. Okay. And I've seen the books behind you that are indicative, even if that's a false background. I know you are somebody who is well read.
It's a digital background.
I'm telling you, but he reads this book, he reads this book, he reads this book, and I'm like, geez, Hal. Everywhere he goes, he's got a book he can read. And when you're reading,
I like that about Hal.
Yeah. Oh, Hal's smart. Shucks. So that is something that makes you more self-aware. The only thing you could do that would take it to another level, in my opinion, is to learn to meditate.
Well, thanks for the votes of confidence. When we're done, I'm going to cancel my relationship with my executive coach because clearly I don't need it anymore. You think about people who are self-aware. They're the ones who follow up after a conversation. And it may not be immediately; it may be sometime later, and go, I feel like I came across as a jerk in that conversation. I don't think my points were coming across in the meeting. Give me some feedback. What did I do wrong there? While you're talking in a group conversation, you feel like people are tuning me out, as opposed to I'm just going to keep going because I'm going to say what I got to say. And I'm not paying attention to what's going on around you. The people who are more self-aware are people who behave that way. I don't like the way this is coming out of my mouth right now. And you say, hey, that wasn't the way I really meant it. Let me rephrase that. All of that is clues of people who are self-aware.
Agreed.
I like that.
Agreed. It really is. When you know that you've come across in a way that was less than the way you wanted to come across, that's being self-aware. I was having breakfast with this lady, and she offered to pay half. And I looked at her, and I said, "No, I'll do it. I invited you. I'll pick up the tab." And she said, "Yeah, okay." I could tell from the look on your face that, I'm like, and then I thought about it. And then the next day I called her and I said, "You know what?" I said, "I want to apologize. You were being thoughtful. You were being generous. And it's an area that I struggle with, allowing people to do for me. I'm working on it, though. Honest to God, I am. I'm working on allowing people to do for me, to give me. But my reaction to you was wrong." And she said, "Oh, no." I said, "No, it was wrong. And I do apologize. And I won't let that happen again." And so I took it as a learning time for me to pick up that, when somebody wants to do something for you, I didn't realize that the look on my face came across that way.
So did you make her pay you half back to just make her feel better about it?
Next time I'm gonna just let her pick up the tab by herself. But you're right. When somebody can say, I said something that I don't really think came across well, that person is self-aware. Cool. That is, and that is somebody who you want to spend time talking to, when somebody is self-aware. Because if they're self-aware about themselves, they're also going to be more aware about you and can give you constructive feedback.
Right. Are there any other parts of the book that you guys picked up on and were more curious about?
Well, I was going to bring this up. There was one quote. There's a lot in here that I liked, and I've got.
I am so jealous I can't highlight.
Well, here's what I do, because I'm doing the Kindle version.
Oh, right.
Is, I grab a passage and I just copy and paste it into a Word document. So I've got, little Word, a running list of things. So here's one of them.
Okay.
So bear with me. It says, coaching is the deep tissue massage of leadership development, applying the slow, steady pressure of self-inquiry, collegial candor, and consistent practice to examine faults and build transformative behaviors.
Oh, I like that.
That was like one. That's one sentence. It was just a lot in one sentence, but it sort of was a great summary. Page 34 of the Kindle version.
I may have to, in addition to having the audio version, I may have to get the Kindle version, because there were a number of things that I heard. That's why I say I've got to go back, listen to it with pad and pencil, and start making some notes, because I heard some absolute gems
Mm-hmm.
that I
And
thought were very, very valuable for me as a coach and for me to share with my clients so that they would become more coachable.
coachable.
Yeah,
Apple,
so
Apple,
I just want to run with the analogy. I'm sorry, just to jump in because I don't want to lose what I said there, and then
yep,
please let's
no
move on.
problem. Go
You
ahead.
know, but so starting that out with coaching is the deep tissue massage. So think about it. You're not going in for a 15-minute chiropractic adjustment. You walk out and you feel a little better for a little while, and then you're back next week for the adjustment again. I mean, this is over time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And going deep,
yeah.
not just
Deep.
the,
And
not
that's
just
when it hurts.
deeply.
If you've ever had a
Right.
deep
That's why it
tissue
hurt.
massage, ooh, oh. But it's what you need to experience in order to alleviate the pain later on.
It hurts so good though.
Yes.
Apple has a technique that she was telling me about yesterday because I'm doing the Audible version as well. And
Oh, this is something I saw in a YouTube video, probably like 7, 10 years now. So what the guy does, because people speak so slowly on Audible, I fall asleep. So you turn the Audible to twice the speed while you're reading the ebook. And
So-
that works really well.
yeah, because the Kindle version, the ebook, the Kindle version is only 99 cents right now. So
Really?
I was
Yeah,
thinking
it's
about
99 cents. Yeah.
Okay.
So it does something using
Well, you're using two of your senses at the same
Exactly,
time, your
yeah.
ears and your eyes,
Yeah.
as opposed to just one. So that makes a lot of sense. And when many people, speed readers don't, but many people I do. When I'm reading, I'm not a fast reader. I still play the words in my head. I know. Speed readers just kind of can scan it and digest the material. It's just not the way I read. So you've got the audio playing in your head while you're reading, but it's your own voice in your own head that's distracted with all those other thoughts that are popping in there. And then you go, wait a minute, I just read 2 pages and I have no idea what I just read. But if you've got somebody reading to you while you're following the words, even at 1.5 or 2 times the speed, that makes, I've never done it before, but it makes
it makes such a big difference. Vern, when you're listening or when you're reading, do you 3-finger it? Because that's what I was getting coaching on, how to use the 3-finger to learn more effectively.
I did not do it the first time. I will go through it the next time because I'm going to be paying closer attention. Oftentimes I listen to Audible while I'm driving.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but with this particular book, because I wanted to get through it in time to have this conversation with you all. It was also during dinner. I'm sitting up here, instead of watching TV, I'm listening to this book on becoming coachable while I'm eating. And there were some points that I thought were invaluable, which I'm excited to go back through it a second time so I can take some notes that will give me some direction and some information that I can share with my clients that will give them some direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want them to become coachable. Like I said, it makes my job easier. But the 3-finger technique brings information back that you have either read and or heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so since I know I'm going to be listening to it again, I will take more time. In fact, I will probably meditate while listening.
Mm-hmm.
And become really, really focused. Just relax, put 3 fingers together, and just listen more intently. I'll go through it several times because I think the material was that good. Mm-hmm. So this was like a real winner for me. I mean, obviously because it's in my field, but the information was just invaluable. So yeah, I will be using the 3-finger technique for recall as time goes on.
One of the things that I found helpful, like I have the Kindle version, and I preview the book and I look for trigger words. So I had them, and then I turned those trigger words into questions. And I found that helpful, and it allowed me the information to stick more.
It's good. You know, there were some things that like I said, that I heard. I'm like, whoa, that was good. I'm gonna listen to it again. I'm gonna be taking notes, but I'll be listening for that, because I do want to make sure that I jot that point down. Now that you give me the idea of getting it in Kindle, which I can get on both my my computer and my phone, then there's some things I want to highlight, and of course I can highlight them, copy and paste, and so forth to some specifics. But it was a good choice as a book. It was really, really a good choice. But it was just very eye-opening.
We were really thinking of you, Vern, when we chose it. We were.
Thinking about you from a profession, not from the standpoint that you need to become coachable.
No.
Well, I thought about it. So, what can
that
I do
came
to
out wrong.
become coachable? I mean, everybody. I have a coach. Everybody needs a coach. If you want to grow, okay, you need a coach. I need somebody that's going to give me perception that I don't have. It's like, what does your back look like? Well, if I don't sit up there and look over into the mirror and everything, I'll never know. But if somebody comes from behind and say, yeah, well, this is what's on your back and so forth and so on. If you're serious about growing, you get a coach. And so that was the lesson for me, that I needed, I got a coach. It's important I have one. And to me, also being surrounded by people who can give you feedback, who feel comfortable giving you feedback because you've given them that blank check. Look, if I say something you need to pull my coattail on, go right ahead. Put my ego in my back pocket. I'll listen to what you got to say, because I've given you that blank check to do that.
Right. I was really irate at myself because when Marshall Goldsmith does his executive summary at the end of the chapter, he said, okay, so now we know what coaching is, and we know what you need to be coachable, and you know how to find one. I was like, oh shoot, I must have fell asleep at the how to find one that works with you. So do you guys have any, did you guys pick up anything from the part where they tell you how there's so many coaches out there, right? How do you find one that fits with you?
If it's one that's not assigned to you and it is one of your choosing,
right?
A lot of effort needs to go into vetting the coach, and the coach should be vetting you through that process as well, because coaches should a coach that is eager to take you on as a client, but not so eager that they'll take you on regardless of the client you'll be, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There has to be a self-selection process going both ways.
I agree.
I made a mistake years ago. Someone referred, I was looking for a coach, and someone referred someone to me, and I had several sessions with her, but what I realized was her tools were very unsophisticated. So I went back to the person who referred me, and I said, well, this is what I'm seeing. She says, well, that's why I didn't use them. And I'm thinking to myself, why didn't you tell me that to begin with?
Good question. Was there a response?
She didn't say anything. So
that kind of says volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I just did the time that I committed to, and then I was done because it wasn't help me. Like it felt to me like in many areas I was too advanced for this person. So that choosing piece is very important.
At
The
the end of the first, first interaction, when it's, it's not someone that's been assigned to you, so you don't have a choice. This is, the, whether you're going to get executive coaching or not may or may not be your choice, but who is going to be your executive coach, if you have the opportunity to choose, then at the end of that first conversation, ideally the coach, who the person who might be your coach, and it's a getting to know each other and trying to define what you want out of the coaching relationship with the questioning that the coach is doing. I mean, the both parties have to look at what came out of that first conversation, and is this right for both of us?
Mm-hmm.
And both should be willing to say, you know what, thank you very much, but I'm not sure this is right for me. And that goes with both parties.
Yep. What I found when I'm talking with potential clients, I'm saying, look, this is what I do. I said, if you find that it works for you, great. And if you find that it doesn't work for you, it's okay. My worst case scenario is that I've made a new friend. So I take all the pressure off, because I realize that my particular coaching is very, very specialized. Very specialized. And not everybody is ready for it. Only those people who have a mind, but it's very specialized. And if this isn't the kind of coaching that you're looking for, then it's okay. If I can recommend you to somebody else, I will. Or, I'm not the one. I wish you luck in your search, but I'm just not the one, because this is what I do. This is my area of specialization. So yeah, having that conversation and being able, and this is strength in any relationship, the person who has the strength to turn around and walk away.
Yeah. What would you say your area of specialization is?
My area of specialization, Benita, is that I integrate mindfulness and emotional intelligence. And I do it through a process of mental training. I don't know very many coaches who take that approach, where they're looking at integrating mindfulness and emotional intelligence along with mental training, because that's what I do. That's what I know. So
Right.
that makes me very specialized in terms of what it is that I do. I'm talking about how you see you and being able to affect change within your thinking. And that's very specialized.
I like that. If you want to take your mind to the gym, you need to contact Vernon Webb here from the Virtual Book Club. We're going to have to end it. We could go on. We could go on and
We
on.
will 2 weeks from now, right?
Yeah, we will 2 weeks from now. So
Great.
I'm going to be done the book 2 weeks from now, and then I think I'm going to write down my questions this time, so I don't forget anything. And
I'm
hopefully,
going to go through and read it again.
yeah, hopefully you guys will do the same, and then it'll be another great conversation like this one.
Absolutely.
Happy, 3-year anniversary to the Virtual Book Club.
Yay.
Yeah, this October is 3 years that we've been doing this, and we're still going strong. I think mainly because, we've built really good relationships here, and we can't like good books just keep coming out. They just keep coming and coming and coming.
Oh yeah.
Never run out.
Yeah. Well, the books keep coming out, and I get to spend time discussing those books with you people, and it's why I show up. It's as simple
Amen.
as that. It's why I show up.
It's
You come
super
for the
fun.
books. You come for the books and stay for the conversation.
That's right. See you on the 26th,
time.
everybody.
Thank you, Benita.
Thank you.
I got to run.